Welcome to the Moving Pictures Studio here with Harrison Gilbertson. Congratulations on What's Wrong with Virginia. I mean, it's, one thing making movies in Australia and enjoying some success there, to now be on set and on stage with Jennifer Connelly and Ed Harris on a daily basis. Was there any kind of apprehension or nerves, and how did they help you, get over it?
I mean, obviously, I think it's I've got a lot of respect for those actors. I mean, all of some of my favourite performances have come from their films, so that's something that's on your mind. But I think the best thing is that I've been lucky enough that everyone I've met, nobody's ever really had that much of an ego. So I've never felt as though I should be daunted, or once you have that initial handshake, it kind of everything just eases out, and they're great people. So and I think that they have so much experience that they give you confidence that you're working. I think they'd tell you if they didn't feel like you were doing the best that you could. So yeah.
And Dustin Lance Black, Lance, he's obviously had some amazing success over the last couple of years, and everyone seems to kind of enjoy that first initial meeting with him. What was the first time you met him, and what was that like?
I had a phone call. I did the audition. I was finishing a film in Australia, and I auditioned while I was over there. I'd read the script a few months prior, and I've just loved it to bits. I mean, it's such a in-depth character journey for all of the characters, and so I hadn't actually officially met him. I got cast off the tape, and then I got a phone call a couple of days before we flew out, and he was just had a chat to catch up, and this sort of quiet voice comes on the phone, and hi, I'm Lance, and it was great. He's just such a really good person, and in control, but not in a way that's kind of daunting or showing experience. He knows his plan in his head, and that's the final product, and he trusts people to do their job, and he tells you if he'd like you to try something different. And I think it's a sign of a really good director.
I mean, you mentioned like you were working in Australia. Was that on Beneath Hill 60 at the time?
Yeah.
So I mean, in that film, like you're playing above your age, and in this film, your age, but you're expected to be so much more, almost be parent-like, given the condition of your mother.
Right.
Is that something that you think is like an actor's journey, that you tend to accumulate maturity more, sooner than perhaps, some other experiences?
I think every film's a different journey as well. I think like with Beneath Hill 60, it was a really different experience. The other films I've done have been really kind of character journeys as well. Blessed and Actions Happen were a real sort of, one's about a dysfunctional family, one's about dysfunctional society, and the Beneath Hill 60 was, filming in a sort of studio, as much of a studio you'd get as in Australia, and so to come off that and then to work again on another film, kind of like the previous ones I've done, was a big change. I mean, Jeremy's approach was a lot different to Lance's, and so I had to find what I I love to do more again. And Lance was really good in that, a lot of patience, and so yeah.
Do you think it's fair for a kid like Emmett to have the responsibility he's been given?
I don't think so. I think for any kid who's in a tough situation, I don't think children should be in that. I mean, I've been so blessed. I've had the perfect upbringing I could ask for, and so but I've had friends who've had tough childhoods, and it's something that it stays with that person, and it makes them difficult, and they've got their own problems. So no, I don't think any child should have to be a parent. But I think that the beautiful thing in this movie is that they enjoy that kind of relationship. It's not in a way where it's a burden, or there's no signs that Emmett's ever burdened by having to look after Virginia.
It's a question that kind of love conquers all, I guess.
Yeah, I think so, and it's a real love.
Yeah. In that kind of peas and carrots mentality, would you personally go for different vegetables, or are you happy with the peas and carrots?
Oh, I think she cooks them good, so.
Music's a big part of the set, a big part of Lance's world, especially in the finished product. Do you, as an actor, is music part of your process?
In terms of like preparing to do scenes, I know a lot of people, I've worked with guys who put their iPods in and stuff, but not really while I'm working. But in terms of music and film, I mean, often I'll listen to a song and I'll have a film play out in my head, you know, just a story. And I think if you took the music out of Slumdog Millionaire, for example, I think it wouldn't have been half the film that it was. I think that music's something that really hits the soul of the audience and sort of takes you to a new level in your viewing of the film.
So do you write as well? Do you have other creative outlets?
I do. I'm really into photography, which has been really great because living back in Adelaide, it can be a bit of, you know, being on the other side of the world creatively, it can be a bit of a block. So I'm really getting into my photography. Jennifer actually gave me a Holga while we were doing the film, which has been a lot of fun.
Very nice.
And then also I've been trying to write ideas as well, because I think, you know, you've got to make. I was having a chat with a guy named Eamon Farron, and we were talking about how, you know, in this day and age, especially with all the Twilight films and all of those sort of franchise things, we really have to, you know, you have to sort of create your own work as well, whether it's on the stage or on the film.
Talking about stage, I mean, how much of it has theatre played a part in your development as an actor?
Well, my dad was an opera singer, so I've had a growing up around the theatre, especially it was sort of when I was between 3 and 6, was sort of the height of his career. So I've been around that creative environment, but I've never actually done stage. I did a Year 12 play when I was in Year 10 at school, and that's about as close as I got, which it was fun, but no, you know, it wasn't as big of an experience as the other stuff I've done. But
yeah,
it's certainly something that would be a challenge. I think it would be a lot harder than film. You don't kind of get to have that. Wait, let's think about the scene again. It's kind of like, you know, it's up to you to make it happen right then and there. So.
I mean, the biggest compliment people can pay is that after seeing What's Wrong with Virginia, they had no idea that you were an Aussie.
Right.
How much work did you have to put into that accent, or did it come fairly naturally?
I think, I mean, I put a lot of work into it, and I had a dialect coach, and I think the thing that I found, though, at the end was when I went back to the original accent I did for the audition, I just watched YouTube. I watched a lady complaining about the local politics or something, and I actually found that I think the natural, you know, not trying to get technical about it, when you get natural with it, it always sort of comes out best. And I think it's the same with performance. If you try and get technical about what you do, it always seems a bit false. So,
did you try and maintain it between scenes as well?
No, much to Lance's annoyance. I think one of the first things he said to me when I arrived in Michigan was, all right, you've got to stop speaking normally now. And I kind of looked at him and was like, oh, I don't think I will. So I think I work better that way, because if I do the accent, then I want to be the character, and Emmett's got a few shades of dark to him as well. That, I mean, I'm like to have a bit of fun on the set with everyone, so I stick to my accent.
So sets that have a prankster tend to usually is the Aussie on set, right. for whatever reason.
I think we're pretty down to earth, and we love talking to the caterers just as much as we do the high executive producer. So I love the experience. And
so what's hold in store now? I mean, you know, obviously this film, you know, American cast, American setting. Do you go back to Australia and look for the next opportunity to come back to do an international production, or have you already got stuff lined up in Oz?
No, at the moment I've had the year since I did Virginia. I did in 2008 and 2009. I did 2 movies both years, so it's been a crazy time, and this year's just been a burden because I really want to do something again. But it's also been really great being back home and spending that time with my friends and family that I haven't spent the last few years. So it's I'm in the mix for a few things in LA at the moment. Some of them are a year away and some of them are a month away, so we'll wait and see, you know, what happens with those. But for now it's, you know, it's always about the material. I want to do good films, whether that's a really great blockbuster or whether that's, you know, a film that no one's ever going to see. But it's that's what it's about for me.
Well, congratulations on the success so far, and I wish you much more.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.